sometimes I truly wonder about my production capabilities. But I already did my video for today, so I'm just jumping on here to screw around with stick, see if I can get some lighting going on. Does that help any? Kind of does, kind of doesn't. But fucking around, farting around with stick. How come I cannot get more light? Let me try one more thing. Oh, that gives me a little forward light. Yeah, that's good. Well, you can see stick good enough. Well, stick. I like stick. Been working with stick a long time, and I finally figured some things out with stick. One of them is, I think I've explained this before, you got to get your motion forward. It's got to be correct. It's all about correctness. All the things I'm working on, isolation, periphery. But my stick is kind of longer than the normal stick that they screw around with. So I had to learn my own ways. One of the things I learned, you can hold that at the end and do stuff at the end with it, reach out with it, but you really want to learn to hold it more towards the reason is, if you're holding it, you want to always have room for your other hand, basically. And then also, working with this longer stick a long time, I can tell you, you want to make sure that it clears your belly. Not the stick clearing you once you start getting the different moves on. And then again, the hand hold. You don't want to hold it really towards the end. You want to hold it more towards the middle. And the reason is strength. The more you hold it in the middle, the less strength it takes to spin it. And again, you just got to work clearance under your arm first. And always under your arm. That's why I like screwing with stick. There's so many different things to practice with stick. I'll never get, good enough. There's always like neat things that happen. And one of them is once I learned how to keep my hands more towards center and get the spin going faster with less strength, because that's what a lot of this is about, using less strength, doing it correctly. I learned to bring it across my body, and then once I did that, there's this neat move you can do where you spin it across your body, and you bring it back, and once you start, it starts going by itself. You just got to get your arm and your wrist to do the motion. Now I can sort of like go on my shoulder like this. I can take it and throw a punch at any distance. I can go forward like that and come across, like this, or I can come across. Gotta move my chair here. But I can come across. Both arms, come across. Whoa, that was my leg. That was my shin. Ouch. That's the price of practice. Yeah, I'm also learning the footwork lately. Screwing around with stick. Since I just got that shin, it made me think. Before I turned the camera on, I was working on my footwork because I got this move down, both hands, but I don't got my feet down. Obviously, I just hit that one. But what I've learned also with stick, with the footwork part, that I'm just learning with nobody teaching me, is it's always good to have one prop forward, just like I guess sword fighters would do. But the reasoning is, like, if I would have had my weight on the back one, more on the back one, and when I felt that coming down wrong, if I would have just danced a little and pulled that leg back, I would have missed. So you want to have your weight on that front one so you can come forward, but you don't really want it on it, if you know what I mean. You want it there. You want it ready to come forward, but you more want it ready to come back. So, yeah, I'm learning the footwork is you want one foot forward and you want your weight off it so you can bring it back really fast. But you also want it where you can lean forward into your strike, or whatever you want to call it, forward motion. It's all about keeping the motion and then learning the different angles that the stick likes to go on both ends. Because you got to remember the back end. I used to get hit in my face a lot with the back end. And I've also learned to keep my hand up. My whatever hand's not holding it, generally I get the other hand up over my face and on the other side because it makes sense. Is you're going to come over and grab it for two-handed stuff. And then working with two hands is just something I'm always practicing with. It's hard with the body. It's hard on the body. And with, you see, I sort of always got one leg sort of propped forward there. And yeah, it's the one that's going to get hit every time. So I'm not paying attention. But I've learned to dance. If I was truly moving fast enough, my legs would move back and forth every time it's crossed over. But I just do whatever feels natural in the moment. You see, you can get it to spin if you're holding on to it and not at the end, about at least 8 inches, 8 to 10 inches off the end. And see, I can't hold this one in the middle because it's too long. I've already tried. It doesn't clear me. I can come almost to middle with it, which is good enough. It gives me a really decent spin with very little effort. Yeah, the more towards the middle you hold it, and as long as you clear your arm, get a good snap, you get a good whip on it. Because that's what it's all about, is the whip. At least, when I'm trying to impact something. I mean, for me, what it's all about is spinning it with, again, less effort and more speed, more velocity. And not getting hit in the head or legs or scratching my belly or getting slapped in the face or all those other fun things that happen when you're playing around with stick. Again, starting to work on footwork because just getting to that natural place with arms and body. Also learn this in and out move. Get my hand out a damn way. Guaranteed, if you don't learn it, you'll hit your hands. And it hurts. Yeah, me and stick get crazy. That's how I end up getting hurt all the time. No matter how good I get. I'm always trying new stuff. Give me a pole to hit and I'll work for a while. I'm actually trying not to work too hard because I'm a little stiffity today. I don't need the upper body tightness. I just picked up stick because it's a nervous habit and it's fun. Except when I get hit. It also reminds my body that I'm not totally broken. I've got good peripheral movement. Despite my arms and legs hurting, they move. My core, my spine, that's another story. It has every reason not to want to move. So that's why I work on the periphery a lot. Not that I didn't work my core today. I think, well, if you watch my video, I started off with a core. I did a tennis ball routine on the front of the body. So anyways, just screwing around with stick. Thought I'd jump on and say, hey, this is what you can do with stick after you play with it for 15 years. Has it been that long? Yeah, it's been that long. Actually, it was more of a wheelchair walker kind of deal for about 5 of those years. Yeah, little details you learn after time with stick. Bouncing off the ground helps reset the hands. I always wondered why he did that. Now I know. Get your grip back. You know exactly where your grip's at when you hit the ground. Bam. It's hard to believe I started off with 2 forward twirls and a 1 up. Well, not really. I kind of added to it always. I don't know why. I mean, it's good to have control and be able to stop. But generally, I think if I'm having an issue, I ain't going to stop. They're just going to see stick floating all around. Every once in a while, it's just going to go whack. Yeah, it's an interesting concept, too. Because I don't have anybody showing me anything, and I'm not training this, but stick blocking. Somebody came at me with a bicycle, and I thought about it. The next time I know what to do. I mean, not like I didn't know. Somebody's going to hit me, I'm going to get out of the way. But when you got stick, I thought, well, you block, yeah, and you put stick on ground, because that way they got to break it. So, and I don't have to put any effort. So yeah, I just put stick on ground, and then block, and then boom, on a bicycle, they're toast. So yeah, just sidestep, drag stick. Yeah, interesting concept. And again, concept with stick, because not attack, but block. That's what made me think it, because I had already sort of had the concept that if something happens, don't use stick to hit anybody, but use stick to block. Because I got this going on, and then I decided to learn this sideways in front of me, and then once I went, wow, I could do that. I went, wow, then nobody can come through. So I don't need to whack them. I just need to block. And of course, them getting whacked is going to be a byproduct of blocking. So yeah, interesting concept. Stick's not really about whacking. He's about blocking and protecting. As much as getting whacked with. He can block me, protect me, keep me on my feet like he's supposed to do. Yeah, relationship with stick is very complex. And again, not having any teachers or formal training, I cannot get in any trouble because I have no idea what the flip I'm doing. And again, this is for defense. No, it's for stick yoga. That's what this is. Because yoga means movement. And that's simply all I'm doing is just movement. Sue me. Stick yoga. So anybody asks me why I'm always carrying around the flipping sticks, that's why. Stick yoga. And it's true. I am learning how to do stretches with the stick. It is why I carry the extra heavy guy. Now I got both of them going shit. But anyways, yeah, I broke this one. So now I carry this guy. That's why I learned how to use two. And he's not broken yet. And so I can lay on him. I can do all kinds of stretches with him. And he's just very healthy. He's just very healthy. And yeah, two sticks. Just learning this. And again, no teacher. I watched the video, and I'm not doing it the way the guy trained on the video because my sticks are longer. Yeah, it's about getting the motion right more than the strength. You definitely got to have that. That's where I start getting the footwork. Got to have a forward foot. Got to have a good base. to work, because it takes the whole core of the body to work both of them. Trying not to do this too hard. It's about doing stuff right. It's not about just flinging. Paying really close attention to each arm. That's the other thing. You start getting to break down your isolation, each side of your body, which is really why, the biggest reason why I'm doing this. And you can see I'm just starting to flow all over the dang place. That just comes naturally when you start working out. So yeah, got 2 sticks going on now. I done decided though, I ain't playing no with 2 sticks, because just 1 stick is so easy and basic, especially after working 2. I would rather work both arms into one motion than have 2. Well, I mean, if I gotta start with 2, lose 1, that's basically the idea. Besides, my other one's tucked in my backpack all the time. Back there. It's only for emergencies. And yeah, once you come from 2 back to 1, it's distinctly easier. Your hands just naturally want to stay together where they should be. And last thing I want to throw on this dang video was, damn, am I happy. Yeah, am I happy about the surgery? I have a lot of pain, and it's hard to move. And my stomach may kill me yet, just like my daddy. But damn, it's nice not having numbness in his arm, because it came back a couple weeks ago, and I thought I was in trouble. I still may be, but for the time that I've got it, it is wonderful being able to use the muscles and strength in my right arm. Especially now my left one is very sore, and my left side is sore, but my left arm is actually sore. I've done so much work since surgery in the last 6 weeks with my left arm, left side, giving this one a chance to heal. This one's like saying, okay, we're starting to be ready over here, and I'm like, damn, this feels good. Because I got headaches, and I got spinal pressure. And again, my guts hurt, my scoliosis is caving in my side. But I have less spasms in my nerves, and I can feel my arm. And the muscles work. When I go to use them, they don't quit. I don't even know how to explain how that. They just used to fail. And that's a terrible feeling when you're trying to hold something and you can't feel it no more, and it just drops. So, and it's like I've done all this work, all this working out to have some strength, and it was like futile because I was going against the grain. I was going against pressure on my spinal cord, and it's like now that that's lifted, I'm getting the benefit of all of that, all those workouts with the stick that I did, and I can feel that it's not really strength, it's just a good flow, nice flow, just like when the stick whips right. So, you can do that with your arms, and you can do that with your legs. Like when I go walking, I'm thinking about the same thing. Get correct motion, breathe, all those things that I do with stick for the arms. And stick workout is just, it's one part of a day. You do your walking, you do your stick workout. Do you laying on the floor? Do you sitting in chairs with circles? You've got a self-healing regimen going on. Doesn't take a whole lot. Perceptions. I don't know what people think when they look at me like, yeah, I do work out all day long. Do I work out all day long? No. because I do a little here and I do a little there. Do I do some focus stuff? Yeah. More than most? Maybe. Yeah, maybe more than most. But the average person probably should be doing just as much as I'm doing on top of their normal life. It's interesting watching my daughter, who's so very healthy, knows all my stuff, and who lives the life. That's why I say I think maybe a normal person probably should be doing like twice as much as me because it seems like she does 3 times as much as me and doesn't even break a sweat. He's a mama and career and health issues of her own. Now taking care of an even larger family. And you see, stick after a while just takes a life of its own, depending on how much strength I got. I really don't want to whittle my arms down too much more. Just felt good to get that flow going. The other thing that, the control part is good, and I do slow down to get it and learn it. But the main thing that's taught me how to work with stick is confined areas, like where I'm inside right now. The ceiling, for instance, and furniture. Because I think I mentioned this before, my other videos with stick is I can get like out there. It's one of the things I'm learning is my full range. But the first thing I had to learn was my close-in range, not to hit things. Yeah. And even today, when I was walking backwards down the street, every fence I come to on either side, fence or a pole, I worked that side to make sure I could come in close and get a feel for my distance on my side without looking. You want to get your peripheral sight. If anything, that's what you want to be aware of, really aware of. That's why I practice going backwards and feeling bushes and poles. Like I'll turn my head and I'll get in my periphery that they're coming, and then I'll put out my hand and my arm and I'll keep checking and see. It somehow tunes in the vision on your periphery. It's just a tactile way to sense the world as I'm walking backwards, which is a meditation in its own. Also an interesting thing, because when I walk backwards, I do stick. I don't need it for so much for balance. As if people don't understand, when I walk backwards, I still need stick for balance, even though I'm twirling. But I've learned to keep balance with using stick as twirling as my balancer. That's the interesting concept because I can't hardly walk forward and do this because I need stick for balance. I have not learned that part yet. So for all everybody thinks that I am, haha, on you. Yeah, I can walk without stick forward a bit, but it's dicey. My balance is not good. That's why I'm always working on it. Balance, and as my doctor would say, my spine is not stable. It never will be. And even though I climb up on rocks still and mountains, probably should not to. But it's because, everybody makes their own choices. I remember about 6 years ago when I was hanging on the side of a cliff and I had a spinal spasm and realized I shouldn't have been there. Not properly trained. That's when I decided that to train right, whether I got to that place or not. And I've been on hillside since then, and thankfully I train. Got my spinal spasms under control, which is what you can do if you override with, muscle training, which is what I do. I just don't use weights. I use movements. In this case, I used my stick. And for the last couple of years, fighting the paralysis in this right arm, that's using stick. This is muscle memory training. Also interesting because stick arm doesn't forget the motions, even though when I took time off, I mean, it was a little rusty when I came back, but it picked right up, and I just started learning new stuff. Movement's interesting. It's like, dancing, moving, you can get going too fast, or you can go really slow into like a meditation and slow down every breath. Ouch. I actually hit the back side of my scapula. That was like a wild spin. But I'd hit the back side of my head the same way. So I think after a while, I should mention that. Again, I talked about clearing the stomach. But after a while, you start learning just to come all the way around your head no matter what. I'm still hitting my head, but I'm getting this concept of coming around my head and working around it. It's interesting because I can do different things now from the side because I have this new awareness about my head and moving my arms around my head. I think, again, thanks God for the surgery, because before the surgery, I couldn't move my arm up above my head without any weight. And now I'm like, whew. I mean, I'm not going to put too much weight on that sucker, but it's nice that it has the motion. That's the other thing, for like old people and stiff people and fat people, it takes very little motion to work a stick. It takes very little core mobility. It takes very little peripheral mobility, for that matter. A lot of people you need your wrist, but you really don't. Your wrist could be frozen and stiff and then a splint, and you could still do all these things. Do circles with your forearm. I'm always working on the circles with my forearm now, last couple of years, because I learned this move with the hands. Because you don't have to have your wrist. You just have to move your elbow. And it's another thing, too. Once you start getting that, then, again, the correctness and the velocity and the strength behind it becomes different. It becomes solid. Oops. Okay, that's about done screwing with steak. I mean, I just felt like screwing with him for a minute, and I was on and off day. I'm not supposed to be screwing with him. I already did my video. Who knows? Maybe I'm preparing for fight night. I'm just glad to have learned stick, because he used to hurt me a lot. And at least, again, now he can at least block for me. I don't know how to do much else with him except hurt myself. And he's just been a wonderful little friend and strengthening tool. I'm sure I'm going to be feeling this tonight in my ribs. So. Damn it, Jim. Okay, done playing.